Hey Chris, where are you heading to?
I am headed to the house. I got to get changed. I have an interview with EJ Nieves, who's a local artist here, and he is blowing up faster than I can even keep up with. I'm lucky I was even able to track him down and get some time with him. So we're gonna head over to his gallery and check out some of the special talent that he has.
Awesome. Yeah, his artwork looks really, really cool. I'm sure it's gonna. I'm excited for this interview that you're about to have with him.
Oh yeah, I'm a little nervous. It's gonna be cool.
You'll be good. You're gonna be fine.
All right, we are dressed. We are on our way out to meet EJ. This is exciting. What's up, guys? Chris, the Ocala Realtor here. I'm sitting here with the one, the only EJ Nieves. Now, what's most exciting about this is EJ is one of the best known artists in Ocala. I was able to track him down today to get a little bit of time with him because I want to ask him some questions about his experience with Ocala, and of course, it's no secret that he's a great artist. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit as well. So, EJ, so what is your story?
I've been in Ocala now for about 2.5 years. I like to say that I crash landed here. I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do after Orlando. So I was in Orlando for about 17 years. I went to the University of Central Florida, go Knights. Did that, got a bachelor's of fine arts in graphic design. When I went into when I went into the hiring phase, like looking for a job around 2007, 2008, I quickly started to realize that, not to say that I did need to go to college for what I did, but I realized that a lot of the other people that I was in waiting rooms with, like getting interviewed, they didn't go to college. They figured out their graphic design expertise on YouTube University, and just went for it. So a lot of those guys and girls, they were getting jobs without degrees. So there was definitely the season of my life where I was questioning even going to school, why I went to school or why I went to college in the first place. But I was able to parlay the credits of my time in the university, and I sent them to Tallahassee. My credits allotted me a temporary teaching certificate to be able to teach professionally, like a teacher, for 3 years, with the stipulation that I would go back within those 3 years. I would go back and get the remaining credits that I needed to, be able to solidify the actual degree. So I did that. But it was interesting because around the same time that I was finishing up my degree in education, while I was teaching, that was kind of the time too when I was thinking about a lot of things. At the time I was doing some commission work, and I started doing comic conventions. And so I was introduced to comic conventions at this point now, maybe like 7 years ago. So I was doing comic conventions, traveling, so I would teach during the week, and then there would be weekends that I would travel to Jacksonville, travel to Kentucky, travel out of state, different cities. I was living in Orlando, and I would do these Comic Cons, and they're very lucrative. And it was one of those things where it really kind of put me in this position of like, okay, EJ, art, you can make money off of your art, you can pay your bills off of it, you can put food on the table, provide for yourself. So there was definitely this season where I was kind of going back and forth, ping-ponging between doing full-time art and continue being a teacher. And the more I thought about it, the more I prayed about it, it really was like teaching for me. I enjoy teaching in the aspect of like being able to pour into kids, but there's just so much like red tape and bureaucracy, and God bless teachers. My mom's a teacher. She's going to be retiring this year. I have so many friends that are teachers, and so I have a lot of love and respect for teachers, administration, front end staff, just everybody that works at a school. A lot of respect for them and love for them. It just wasn't for me. So I went into like a season where I was thinking about that, trying to figure out what I was going to do, put in my 2-week notice finally, and about 4.5 years, 5 years into, pretty much by near the end of my 5th year of teaching, put in my 2-week notice, and it's been off to the races since then. From there, I continued doing the comic conventions. That's really what, kind of helped me have a financial foundation, if you will, to be able to do my artwork. Without the Comic Cons, it wouldn't be the same. I'd probably still have to continue working as a teacher or having a part-time job or whatever, you know. But the comic conventions, it was really cool because putting your artwork weekend after weekend, month after month in front of strangers, it really opens up this door for your market to just kind of take off. And we'll get into that too in a little bit, depending on your questions. You know, one of my biggest things as an artist is you have to get your work in front of as many strangers as possible. You just have to.
Yeah.
Music festivals, Comic Cons, art festivals, sidewalk art shows, whatever it is. I mean, I had, when I started, I had my paintings hanging in sake bars, you know, restaurants in Orlando. You know, well, for me, none of them would ever sell, but it was still putting your work out in front of strangers.
Yeah.
So I did that. Yeah, and I did that year after year after year. And then ultimately, the cost of living got really crazy in Orlando. It's getting high everywhere, but this was, this was even before inflation started getting crazy. So about 3 years ago, it just got to a point where like everything literally blew up. My car blew up, you know, my car was out of commission. I incurred an eye injury that, you know, the optometrists that were checking me out, they weren't able to figure out what it was. So like draining tons of money into figuring out what was wrong with my eye. It finally got cleared up and healed. But it was just like a culmination of, I think it was like 2018. It was just this culmination of just like, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And so, long story short, came to Ocala, had a friend that let me sleep on his couch. Their family let me sleep on their couch. And I did that for a couple months, getting my feet on the ground, kind of getting back into play. And then my time in Ocala was also very interesting because I came from a place of like financial, I don't want to say financial ruin, but definitely it just seemed like all of my money was just like being thrown in the trash or like put in the toilet because it was just like so many bills that were incurred through health things. You know, my car, I had to buy a newer car. It just seemed like everything that I was working for, everything that I was building up, it just all went away. And so when I came to Ocala, you know, some people that know me here in Ocala from the very beginning, they definitely have seen kind of like a rise from the ashes kind of a story. I was broken. I was hurting, you know, emotionally, spiritually. It was just, I was definitely in a state of brokenness when I came to Ocala. And from there, you know, it was kind of like a from one couch to the next type of thing. It was crazy. Then the couches ran out, and then I was homeless. So, you know, and I thank God for all the people, all the friends that, you know, helped me out. But of course, just like in life, you know, you got to be able to figure it out. You know, I have a heart and I'm very compassionate towards the homeless. You know, being homeless, you just never understand. You never know their story. You never do. And because I was homeless for about 3 to 6 months, it was just like this really weird time. We're actually in the same gallery. I was living here. And, you know, now I'm able to kind of share that, you know. It was embarrassing back then, but now it's a part of my life. It's a part of my testimony. I was homeless, you know. I was going to friends' houses to take showers, and you know, if their apartment or house wasn't available, I'd be here taking a shower with baby wipes. You know, it was really an interesting time. But all along, even during my homelessness, this is what I will say: there was still this like urgency and this drive to continue moving forward. The reason why I lived here at the time was because this is where, you know, all I could afford at the time, because I didn't have a car, so all I could afford was the rent here at this gallery. So I painted here, I stayed here, tried my best to push my artwork and get money here and there, and really it was one of those, like, I just had to keep crawling. I just had to keep fighting. That's the only way to explain it. I just didn't give up. And before I would tell these stories, and I appreciate you giving me time to, you know, at breath, be able to kind of share a lot of it, because the shorter versions of this story, I mean, I do leave out a lot, and there's certain things that I don't talk about for fear that people might see me as arrogant or pompous. But I will say this, like, I couldn't, there was nothing that was going to stop me from continuing my art journey. There were particular times that somebody could say, yes, your homelessness was self-inflicted. I have a loving mother. She lives 6 hours away. I could have stayed with her during that season, but I knew that if I went back to where she stays at, she lives in a smaller city. There's not a lot of opportunity for growth in the arts, and I knew that I had to stay grounded in the Central Florida area. I knew that. I felt it in my heart. And so I knew that even though this season was hard and weird with this, not really having a place to stay, not having a car, I was walking everywhere. At the time, I was also a resident artist at Magnolia Art Exchange, which is it's a train station, a historical train station here in Ocala, near downtown, that they restored it and they turned it into art galleries and artist studios. And so even now there's great artists that are there now, but for me it was seasonal. I put in two seasons there, and so between here and so having my space here and then having another studio at the Magnolia Art Exchange, I kind of was able to go back and forth, painting, and then here I would sleep and wake up and go back over there and continue working. It was a fight, It was a fight. It was a struggle. It was hard. I had really nice friends that would drive me around at times, help me out, But it was definitely one of those things where I look back on it now and I'm like, man, like I had to go through that. Personally, I wouldn't say that everybody does, right? But for me, I had to go through it because it has developed a particular level of grit in my life. In my character, like I'll never stop, I'll never stop. And I don't want to say that I'll never stop to the point of homelessness again. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. I don't want that. I definitely don't want that. But what I've been through in Ocala in regards to some of the challenges I've faced with the homelessness and trying my best to become a fabric of the Ocala art community. There have been some challenges there too, but it has created a level of grit within me, this tough skin that now, like, I'm not saying I'm Superman or I'm unstoppable, because everybody's human and everybody is stoppable, but I am determined now. Like I am more determined in my life to become the artist that I believe God wants me to be. More than ever in my life. And so now I'm happy to report that, I no longer live here. That's been long gone. It's a store, it's just what you see around us. It's the store, it's a retail space. The other room is my work area. And then I also have a gallery, an art gallery at Workspace Collective on First Avenue. And so, the growth has been exponential. It's been really awesome. I give God all the glory for that. There's no way that I would have been able to do what I've done and meet the people that I've met and be blessed in a way that I've been blessed without God. Like, without Jesus, I always give him the credit and the glory, because I wouldn't be here without him. And even this opportunity now, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity and the platform to be able to tell my story.
Yeah. And
especially in a way that, you told me, hey, you can share it all the way through or share segments or as much as you want. Because to me, even though there may be people that will not watch it because it is like a very long form version, I also know that there's people that will watch it in its entirety. And for those people that watch it in its entirety, this video, they'll be able to understand my heart in a way that maybe other people don't. That in my time as an artist, I've unfortunately had, times where people have mistaken, my message or mistaken my drive or my attitude to succeed for something that it's not. And so I love long form videos where people are able to listen, digest it. I'm able to really dive deeper into some of these areas that people might not, folks and fans and people that appreciate my art, people that don't know me at all, they're able to really tap in and say, okay, now I understand why EJ says this, or why he does this, or why he posts on social media about this. Videos like this are what help propel that forward. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
So would it be safe to say that going through the homelessness, that there's a certain level of distraction that losing your house kind of quiets down, because now it's just you and where the wind takes you?
Yeah, that's a really cool way to put it. You say that, I'm quickly transported to the times where I would wake up here and on a futon and just kind of start my day, and I'd walk from here to downtown. And in a car drive from here, I'm on the North Magnolia side of Ocala. It's literally like a 3-minute drive. But a walk is easily like 30 minutes to an hour. And you're right, like there's something very, like there's a quietness to walking. There's a quietness to, I don't want to say life without a house or homelessness, but there's definitely this sense of like, it's just me.
You get to know yourself.
You get to know yourself. There's a lot of time, I was able to afford 2 things at that time. This space and then my cell phone. So I still had my cell phone, but everything else, no. So all the things that I was used to, accustomed to, all the luxuries that I was accustomed to, not that I was a millionaire, but just the normal things that are luxuries to many of us on a day-to-day. There definitely is a quietness, and I was able to understand myself more. I was able to dissect my heart more. I was able to kind of, I'm 37, I'll be 38 this year. And so, I was able to really understand, okay, EJ, how did I get here? What are some of the things that led you to this place? What can you do better? How can you be a better son? How can you be a better friend? How can I be a better believer in God? How can I be a better citizen of Ocala? There were so many things that I was just thinking about. So there's definitely a quietness that helped transform me into the person that I am today. I'm not perfect, but I will say that I'm more grateful for life than I've ever been, ever. I'm more passionate than I've ever been, ever. I'm more loving than I've ever been, ever. And definitely, the grit to succeed and to, at this moment and juncture in my life, I'm single, no kids. But the passion that I have now is one that I don't want to give up for me, right? But I'll be able to take that and not give up for my wife and not give up for my kids when that time comes. And it's just something that I didn't have before, man. I didn't have it. And so I have it now.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, there's a certain level of it's weird too, because I was briefly in that position when I was 22, and even though it's like you're losing a lot of stuff, there's a certain part of it that's like exciting.
Yeah.
It's like I get to experience being like at absolute bottom, and I know that there's no way to go from here but up.
Yes.
And every day there's measurable progress from there. So dude, that's awesome. So on to the next question. So now that we're here, on a day-to-day, what would you say inspires you the most?
The day-to-day. I'll be honest, for me, lately, it's the next opportunity. I know that might sound kind of weird, but because, and the best example of this at the moment is what I just finished in Lake Wells First Baptist Church. The time was awesome. I was there for a week, and myself and my assistant, Tim Smith, he's awesome. And so we were out there and we painted it, right? A lot of times, many times for me, when I do a piece of artwork or I do a mural or something, it's kind of like you paint it, it happens and it's done, and you just, you walk away and you pray that people enjoy it. You pray that people experience it, that they get something out of it. Then there's moments though where there's a lot of intentionality behind the inception of the piece, like the client and myself and the client, we have this moment of like understanding that we want this to be more than, we want it to be larger than life. We want it to be more than just art. And I say that respectfully because art is in its own nature larger than life. But then again, art can be dismissed. Art can be, because art is subjective, if many times there's not an intentionality behind driving the purpose of the piece or driving or presenting what it's about, it can really get lost in the shuffle, especially nowadays with so much stimuli, between social media and life and billboards and,
you become numb.
You become numb to it. And a lot of society, I believe, has become numb to art because everything's art. Our clothing, magazines, art on the wall, how a car is designed. That's a whole nother conversation. But become numb to art. So with Lake Willis First Baptist Church, it was cool. At the end, when it was all done, I stayed for the Sunday service. I finished on Saturday, came back Sunday. And before the service, they had asked all the youth, so like the children's ministry, the youth group, the middle school, the high school, even college students. They brought them all up there to the space where the murals were located. They allowed me to talk about it. They allowed me to share the vision. The youth pastor was there too. He shared a little bit about the vision and how we came together on this. And it was just this really cool, it was just very intentional. And so what I mean by opportunity inspires me, the next opportunity to be able to do that. The next moment to be able to tell my story, the next moment to be able to share this in itself, what we're doing, this moment is what inspires me, because I know the more that I go, the art is a vehicle. And I believe this is a soapbox of mine. Everybody has a vehicle to share purpose. Everybody has a vehicle to share love or joy, whatever good thing, I believe. People use vehicles for bad things, but I am of the thought of thinking about the good, thinking about, the blessed, thinking about the lovely, And so we all have the ability to use our platforms and to use our vehicles for good. And so my thing is the opportunity to be able to do it again is what inspires me. Because now we're talking, I'm able to talk about God, I'm able to talk about Jesus, I'm able to talk about my homelessness, I'm able to talk about my love for my mom. This opportunity, it's not about climbing a ladder. It's about, one of my mantras in life is build bridges, not kingdoms.
Yeah. And
so this essentially, because correct me if I'm wrong, you're a realtor, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is a realtor and an artist doing? Talking right now, right?
Right.
This is a bridge.
Yeah.
A bridge has been built. And what I am praying for is that everybody and anybody that sees me, especially realtors, especially, companies that deal in this manner and others, they see this and go, that can be done? Okay, because this is inspirational. You could easily be talking to, which I'm sure you do, but you could be talking to contractors, you could be talking to people that do flooring, things that are more tailored to a house. And yes, artwork goes inside of a house, so I don't want to discredit that. But the fact that you are speaking with an artist, it's almost detached to a certain degree, but not.
Yeah.
But so detached enough to where somebody would say, what are they doing? What is that all about?
Right. It's not like me talking to a lender or a title company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would make more sense, respectfully speaking.
Right.
It would make more sense. But to me, as an artist and as a visionary, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see things that don't normally go together and they just gonna click. Yeah.
And so that's my hope and desire for this video above all, is that people watch it, they see you, they see me, they see us talking, they see our industries and how something like this can even exist. and then they go, man, I want to try that, you know, because to me that's what life is all about. I believe we are designed to inspire, and you're taking it upon yourself, you and your team, you're taking it upon yourself to do these videos. You're inspiring people. You know, you're inspiring me. We are inspiring people that are going to be watching, right? So, but yeah, no, it's exciting, man. That's what keeps me going, is the next opportunity to inspire.
I love it. So, and I feel like this one will be like the most important question. In what ways do you feel like Ocala specifically allows you to grow as an artist?
So this is a cool question. It's funny. I mean, I don't want to say I coined it. Me and some people, when we first started doing this art thing, shout out to Teddy Sykes, shout out to Andres Garcia, shout out to Og Element.
Yeah.
There's some folks out there, some guys out there doing some cool stuff, and there's so many others. But we coined the phrase "Grow Ocala." Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so that phrase was coined, and I even own growcala.com. That's coming, y'all.
Yeah,
Look out for growcala.com. When I first moved here, I heard so many people talking about slow Cala.
Oh my God.
Slow Cala, slow, this place is slow.
Yeah.
And it just bothered me, because for me, I am only one person, okay? But I am not going to allow where I live to be called slow. I'm just not. Yeah. I'm one person out of how many? I think it's like 250, 300,000 people that live in Marion County. Yeah. A lot of people. I'm just one person. But again, I, myself, EJ Nieves, one person, I am not going to allow. I'm on Facebook all the time, okay, with this. Because I'll see people type slow Cala, and they could be my friends or not. I love y'all. I love y'all. But I'm gonna say this: if you call Ocala slow Cala, we're gonna talk. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna talk because I'm about growth, man. Yeah. I'm about growth. I'm about inspiration. I'm about progression. I'm about rising. I'm about opportunity. The fact that Ocala is growing, and it is literally, it's Googleable. We're like the 5th largest growing mid-sized city in the nation.
In the nation, yeah.
And I have tons of realtor friends. They all say the same thing. Like, hey, we are selling houses left and right. You know what I'm saying? We drop a house on a Friday. By Saturday morning, there's like 30 offers. Yeah. And half of those are cash. So like, people are coming to Marion County with bags of cash to buy houses, whether they're flipping them or turning them into Airbnbs or putting their families in it. Either way it goes, guys, Ocala's growing. Yeah. And I know there is a large number of Ocalans that are not okay with that. And I want to compassionately charge those people and share with those people that, yes, this may not be the Ocala that many people are used to. And I've only been here, we're going on my third year here. I have seen a slew of restaurants open. So between restaurants, lounges,
especially downtown.
Downtown is growing exponentially. Medical facilities. They built a hotel. They're building another one right on the outskirts of downtown. Our municipal airport is growing. They are talking about the possibility of having commercial air coming. I get goosebumps thinking about our airport. Us being able to leave from our airport to Atlanta. Yeah. Could you imagine that? Like, the airport, guys, from my gallery is literally 15 minutes away.
There you go.
And I can get on a plane in Ocala and go to Atlanta and then go anywhere in the world. So that is awesome news. And I know that, I was just in a comment thread the other day. Hundreds of people were, vouching for us to go back to being slow Cala. And, I get it. The traffic was probably different, and, you could go to the store with ease. But what I want to encourage anybody that is looking at the growth of Ocala as a bad thing, guys, we're making the news. We literally just had a gold Olympic winner. Gold speed skater. Like, literally, I drive by that skating rink almost every day that she practiced, like not just she practiced on, but she started here, you know, like, and to even think about that, I believe it's called Skate Mania. So like to even think that we have, I mean, an Ocalan gold medalist.
Yeah.
I mean, we are making the news over and over again, and it's cool to be a part of that. And so with all that being said, like, it's, for me, it is a smaller town. It's not Tampa, it's not Miami, it's not Orlando, and it won't be. Even when we grow, how our streets are laid out, how our commerce is laid out, how everything's laid out in our city, it's much different than Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Miami. It's much different. So it's not gonna look like that.
No.
But I will say though that right now is prime time for entrepreneurs, visionaries, artists, artisans of the like to share their vision, to create something and put it out there, because we're still small enough to make an impact and to make a splash in the pool, and people around the pool party are like, hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Whereas somewhere like Orlando or Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami, it's like a beach, you know, and people are splashing 2 miles down the beach and nobody even sees you.
Yeah.
But for somebody like myself or any other artist or musician, my goodness, there's so many, Stephen Perry, like E-Cliff, there's just so many amazing musicians here as well.
Yeah.
Art, music, dance, you name it. You make a splash in Ocala, they're gonna see you.
Yeah.
And we're still there. I mean, even 5 to 10 years from now, we're like I said, even when we grow exponentially, we will not be Orlando.
Exactly.
We will still be a pool that is big enough and small enough to make a splash in it, and somebody go, wow, look at that person making a splash. I want to find out about her. I want to find out about him. Let me listen to their music. Let me go to their art show. Let me watch their dance recital. Let me go to the symphony, whatever it is. And so Ocala to me is just it's a great town. It's still small, but we're growing. And the growth is going to bring tons, hundreds, if not thousands of more jobs within the next 5 to 10 years, easily. And there's just enough pie for everybody to eat here. And I think that's what's cool about Ocala.
Yeah, and I've always appreciated that, because I mean, we have a massive county. I don't know if you know this, but the county is like 1,600 square miles.
Wow.
It's massive.
Didn't know that.
And you can be at one end of the county, and then 2 days later on the other side of the county, you'll run into the same person you saw a couple days. So, and it's strange because as big as it is, it has that small town feel to it. You know,
Yes.
it's like it's like going back to mom and pop's place. Like, you know, it's not massive, but there's enough room for everyone.
Yes.
You know, and it is large enough. You know, so I've always appreciated that about Ocala is even though it's grown like crazy, I still run into the same 5 or 6 people regularly. You know, it doesn't matter where I go. So that's a beautiful thing about the county. So this is going to be cool. We're actually on our way over to one of EJ's most famous pieces of art. We are checking out the Wings, the Ocala Wings, over at the Paddock Mall. This is going to be cool.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Paddock Mall. We are currently I'm currently standing in front of Paddock's Valkyrie, which was really the second mural that I painted last year that helped propel my mural career to the next level. So, as you can see, the color combination is a palette of blues. And then I also incorporated some black grays and golds. I use that color palette because it's reminiscent of the corporate branding for Paddock Mall. So I wanted to make sure that the tone and the kind of the atmosphere that I was kind of setting the stage for matched the palette of the corporate branding. And so you'll notice the wings, because in the midst of it, I knew that we were going to have wings. I wanted it to be somewhat reminiscent of a Valkyrie. I think Valkyries are really cool. They're protectors. And so I thought to myself, how cool would it be if like a paddock, you know, like a horse paddock had a Valkyrie that protected all the horses. So essentially, whoever walks in front of the, you know, whoever stands in between the wings, like so, becomes the paddock's Valkyrie. So it gives people an opportunity to be able to become the Valkyrie themselves. And it took about, I'd say it took about 2 to 3 weeks. I know that I finished on Easter. So Easter weekend it was finished, and then I went to church the next day. But yeah, no, it was a great time. We had a really good time with it, and it was the first time that I did the triangles, so it definitely was a learning curve and a learning experience, but I had a lot of fun, and now I'm doing it all over the place.
All right, so this has been an eye-opening experience right here. Once again, I'm Chris, the Ocala Realtor. This is EJ Nieves, and before we cut away, how does one go about hiring you to do some paint work for them?
Well, if you are interested in some of the artistry or all the artistry that you're seeing, you can contact my team at nessmurals@gmail.com, and we will take care of you. We'll start the conversation going. We'll figure out your vision, what you want to do, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome, sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
See you guys.